In this video, we're going to be doing stay stitching. So stay stitching is something that is done along necklines and arm holes in order to stabilize the fabric. Because this is cut on a curve, there's potential for stretching, and we don't want that to happen while we're sewing. So if we put some stitches in here before we sew it together, okay, this is stay stitching happens on a single piece. This is not a seam. So if we put some stitches in here before we sew anything else to this piece, that stitching should stabilize this. So that stitching isn't going anywhere, so therefore this curve is also not going anywhere. I have the center of my piece marked here because what we want to do is we want to sew directionally from the outside to the inside, and you can see that with the arrows on the paper here. So I'm going to do that. And the last thing that we want to make note of here is that this stay stitching is not going to get taken out. It's not basting. So that means two things. One, it's a regular stitch length, and two, we want to put it somewhere that it's not going to be seen later on. So we know that our standard seam allowance is 5/8. So 5/8 is bigger than 4/8. 4/8 is a half of an inch. So we're going to sew just inside of where our standard seam allowance is. So 4/8 or half an inch is where this is going to fall. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and show you how it's done. Ready to sew with my fabric placed at the 1/2 inch mark here on my needle plate. I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and I'm going to stop at the center. You can do a little back stitch at the end to secure it too. We're going to go ahead and do the other side. So I'm just going to flip my piece over because that's easier to do. Okay, and now I can see where the center is, so I know where to stop. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the outside pieces. So back stitching at the beginning and the end. So 1/2 inch. There we go. To help it along that curve. Once I trim all these threads, my piece will be a lot neater, but now you have successfully stay stitched a piece. Take it to the iron, but you can see that like now the curve isn't going anywhere, where this kind of stretches. And it would stretch along here if I didn't have the stay stitching, but if I give a little tug, it's not going anywhere.